Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of RCS Aerospace. So in this video we're going to be covering the unboxing and construction of the Estes Alpha III rocket. So yep, you can see right there. So it can be really confusing when you buy it, because you can get one that's just the rocket, like a kit that's just the rocket, or you can get a kit which is what I've got, which is the launch controller, the launch pad, and the rocket. So it does not come with any rocket engines, so you're gonna have to buy my own, make your own. I have some here. I've got some B's and some C's. So it can be really confusing what rocket motors go with it. But so here there's a chart on the side that tells you. So I'll just move that closer to the camera. So what you'll need the kit, some rocket motors, and over here we have some hobby glue, scissors, like craft knife. Be careful, because everyone knows craft knives are very sharp. I hope everyone knows. But ruler, pencil, a little screwdriver, you can see that, like how small like the tip is, and I've got 4 AA batteries. So it's time to get unboxing. So I'll just pop this stuff aside because I don't need it right now. Okay. And that's everything. Okay. So here I'm going to sort it. So there's a lot of different things here for the kit. So it's always good before you're building something to sort out all everything here. So just sorting it out. So there are actually 3 sets of instructions. Here's the one for the launch pad. So we're going to have that here. I've already memorized the steps, so I won't actually need it. Here we have the one for the controller. By the way, these are in multiple different languages. I'll just pop that over with the controller. And one big one for the rocket. So you can see it's all that. Yeah. So we'll cover the rocket probably last, controller second. Here's everything for the launch pad. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you've got to pop these bits here together. So you've got a square there, you've got a normal there. So there's insert together. Okay, and here we have 3 legs. Just insert them into these little bits right here. There you go, and that's there. You gotta get this. So you're going like that, and then you turn it 90 degrees. That's set up. This is to go on the end of the rod, so we'll pop that aside. Here's one rod. So yeah, it's gonna move that. So there's 2 holes. This one goes into the smaller hole. The bigger ones, I think, for like bigger rockets. And that's in there. And you can see they're slightly different. This one here has a hole in the end, and the other end is capped. This one has pins on both ends. And then this one here is the same as the bottom. Cap on one end, hole on the other. The hole, of course, goes into the pin bit. You got it? It's getting very tall. And then you slide the blast plate down. That's on. And then this cap goes on the end, because as you can see, I can easily poke my eye on this end, so it's real well for little children, and if someone trips and they fall. That's the pad. We'll just move that over here for now. Okay, onto the controller. Here's all the stuff you'll need for the controller. So, there's some tests you need to do on the controller. So, yeah, you can see there's these little pins. These go into the Estes igniters, which, by the way, there's little plugs and little igniters, as you can probably barely see there. You can probably barely see the igniters. You can see a little bit on the side. Anyway, these plug into the igniters, and on the bottom there are 2 screws. That's what the screwdriver is for. Okay, now in come your batteries. Okay, so there you go. You can put the cover back on. I'm not going to though, because I'm not launching today. So what you've got to do to test is put the, so first you've got to go ahead and put these two clips together. See, like that. You can just probably barely see. They'll to get together. And then you've got to get this little thing here. It's a bit tangled. I'll just quickly untangle that. By the way, it's called a key. It's not so recognisable as a key, but then again, you can also recognise it. So you've got to pop it in the hole and push down hard. The light should glow. If the light glows with the key out, your controller's broken, you have to send it back to Estes. Anyway, then you've pushed hard on the key, then you've got to push like really hard. Then you push the button, when both of them are pressed, the light should go out. Your controller's passed the test, so it's up and running. Time for the important bit, the main bit of the rocket. So here's the instructions. I've already memorised these, so I will not need. So an important thing to do first is gather the materials you'll need. So I already gathered this stuff. I'll need all of this stuff here. And then just got to open up this. Be careful not to accidentally cut any of the parts inside it. If you cut anything that's inside this bag, it can get heavily damaged. Okay, something you can really easily lose is the tiny little nose cone screw. So the first thing I do is I insert it into there. So yeah, screw, screwing it in there. Okay, you've got to make sure it's like this, otherwise it will not work. Well, one of the things we're going to need to do now is we're going to have to use all these fiddly little parts here. As you can see, these are parts for the engine mount. Here you can see all these. So you've got to remember to include every single one. So over here is this. And at this point, I realised that I probably should have gotten a work mat. So we paused the video, I went up and got the work mat and a paper towel because we're using glue. Okay, so here, I'll just clear the air a little. So this is the point where we need these as well. So with the engine mount tube, you've got to go right to there, you can see. So there you can measure, and you've got to remember that the measurements are on here. So the measurements, it's always a good idea to check, even for me, even though I've memorised them. Finding certain things on these can be a bit hard sometimes, but here's the measurements right there. It's on step 1. So you've got to mark, first mark is at 25 millimetres. That's the little mark right there. That's 25 millimetres. Now the next mark we have to do is at 5.7. So that's 5 centimetres, an extra 7. Go, and there's the little mark right there. You always want to do the marker a second time just to get a pretty good little go. So this is where you've got to use the oh so dangerous craft knife. So right here, at the one that's the closest to one end, always remember to use a work mat. You just got to go ahead and push a little, make a little slit. These can be a bit fiddly, so again, just persist. So sometimes for this you will need adults' help, but I've finally got that. As you can see a little slit. Then once you've got it pretty good, you just push the hook in, and the hook will do the rest. There's the engine hook in place. Okay, so here we've got the glue. So at the bottom you've got to glue on this little split ring. The reason it's split is to allow the engine hook to spring, because there's going to be this one here which will eventually be slid over up to this bit right here, which will affect the engine hook. And if you use this one, the engine hook will not actually at all be able to move. So otherwise you cannot load or unload a motor. That's why I've got to use this one. So we're going to show the gluing bit now. So yeah, just got to do the glue around it. It's okay if you do a bit too much. It's always an important thing though to have a cloth nearby so you can wipe it off. See, I've done it way too much. See, I can just scrape it off with my finger. All you really want is it to be like just like a wet, runny mixture. That's really all you want it to be. So there you go. Now we'll pop the split green adapter on and hold until dry, because you do not want any parts coming off. So just got to hold this part until it's dry. You can see it's drying. That seems pretty good. Now what you've got to go ahead and do is just put a bit more glue on like that. So try and put it on before the glue dries. So yeah, there you go. And that's already kind of sturdy. It's got to line up as best as you can. This can be extremely fiddly when you're trying to work. See, it's sort of on there. And there we go. That's it right there. So now just clean up the area around it. There's still, but don't put the glue away yet, because there's still one last bit to glue. So you can see this is all looking pretty good. You just want to let these bits dry before you insert it into this, because this is like where the motor mount goes. So this seems dry enough. Now it's time to insert into the motor mount. Remember, this engine hook can be either, like, you can put it anywhere. I just choose to put it here in between one of the fins. So there you go, that's in. And then you've got there's this ring on top. You've got to glue the ring on. When you glue this ring on, there's no turning back, so you cannot take the motor mount out. So before you glue it, it's a good idea just to test everything's working. Put some glue on, a bit of glue on the underside, see, just a little bit, and use your finger to go around. Okay, that's good. The ring's covered with a bit of glue. There you go, that's that going into place. You can see, so there you go, now that's just got to be smoothed off. That's the engine mount there done. So you've got the launch lug, and then you've got this body tube. So I'm going to go ahead and just center it there. So don't put too much glue on. That there, right there's enough. Pop it on and then slide it this way. Center it as best you can. And there you go. Okay, so here we have the shock cord. It's very long, and as it says, it's a precious elastic band, and as it says, it takes the shock out of when the cap comes off the top of the rocket. So here we have this bit right here. If you cut it, it will get rid of some of the plans you need for this. But that's why you have to do this first. Really, you should wait until the body tube's glued, but I'm just doing this while I'm waiting for the body tube to dry. There we go, that's a little bit of glue there. So that's all good there. And now we just have to fold segment 1 over segment 2. This isn't the most pretty thing in the world, but it does the job, and that's all it's meant to do. Let's see, so fold segment 1 and 2 over segment 3. Again, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it does the job. And then what you can just do is you can just use something just like clean it up a little. Just glue it into place. That's it. By the way, when you stick this into the top of the body tube, you have to allow for enough room for the nose cone, so it has to sort of be like that. We'll just go ahead and pop a bit of glue on top. So this is the part you do not want to have coming undone. So you just got to put it in there and hold it until dry. there's a bit too much glue in there, but that should be okay, I guess. Considering the fact that will like dry off. And you can always sand the nose cone or the body tube if there's a bit too much. Just gotta, we'll just pop a little bit of glue right there. Right, so there you go, just gotta sort of like just persist and slide it on. Oh. Also, remember to try not to break the fins in this process. Also, you might want to swivel it to the side you are happy with. It's been a day since I did this bit. The reason I've waited is because obviously the glue starts to dry, so we don't want the nose cone getting stuck on there. So we'll start by doing the parachute. So grab the strings, make sure none of the strings are tangled nor damaged, and make sure the parachute itself is not damaged. Got the strings there. Now you've got to fold, get them into a long line. And then through the really so super tiny and easy to lose nose cone screw, you just got to pop it through like that. And then you've got to find the middle bits. So I've found I've got a loop there for the middle bits. Just bunch up the parachute and try not to get the strings tangled as best as you can. And then you just fold it straight through and then pull on both, and then you can see it works. You just want to keep the parachute flat, and a way to test is like that. And another way to test is like that. Now it's time to do the shock cord, which is also the second last thing to do on the rocket. Now shock cords are known for coming untied, so you want to double knot the shock cord. Now a way you can test the shock cords all working is like that. Just go like that a little. Like that a little. There you go. Shock cords definitely good. Now you can't. A common mistake with rockets, which is why they get lost, is people shove the parachute in without folding it properly. The way you've got to fold the rocket is just first make sure none of the strings are tangled, because that's a common problem as well for why people lose rockets. And fold the parachute in half. Then fold that in half again, and then half again, and then, as you can guess, in half again. Then you gotta then this is how you do a fast fold. You've got to pop the strings in. So the fast fold means the parachute goes ahead and comes out immediately. So it's like that, and then you roll it up. You shove it in there, and then you pop the nose cone on top and the shock cord in there. With certified model rockets like this one, the Alpha III Estes, they work with both a fast fold and a slow fold. Whereas heavier rockets, you don't want to do a fast fold because the parachute will just rip off. So this is how you do a slow fold. So the strings are out. You fold that like that. You roll it up, and you wrap the strings around. Then you pop it in there. I personally want the sort of slow fold. And don't forget to pop the shock cord in there. Otherwise, that doesn't actually work. So get shock cords in. But anyway, there's the model rocket. So here you can obviously see you pop the motor inside. So you've got to open it up, and then you slot the motor inside. and then you just pull it back and the motor can come out. And then this slides onto the launch rail because it's a launch lug, so it obviously does that. And then yeah, you just load the motor and you're ready to go. Anyway, before I cover up this video, I just want to say big thanks to another YouTuber called Project Air for inspiring me to do these things. So, bye!